It is a warm, heavily humid summer evening. The sun has finally dipped below the horizon, taking the unbearable heat of the day with it. You step out onto your back porch, holding a cold drink, looking forward to a moment of total peace. You reach out and flip on the outdoor light switch to illuminate the patio. Instantly, the peaceful night shatters into absolute chaos. The glowing bulb is not just visited by a few tiny gnats, it is completely hijacked by massive, sprawling, long-legged monsters. They look like common houseflies that have been stretched, distorted, and mutated in some dark radioactive experiment. They have 6 ridiculously long, fragile legs dangling clumsily beneath them. They bounce erratically off the hot glass of the light fixture. They hit the wooden siding of your house with a loud, unsettling tap. They drop onto your shoulders and they crash directly into your face. Your brain does not pause to analyze the biological species. Your brain does not consider their ecological niche in the local environment. Your brain simply screams, no. It signals pure, unfiltered, ancient danger. You stumble backward, spilling your drink. You immediately reach for the heavy artillery. You grab a pressurized chemical fogger, a tightly rolled-up magazine, or a high-voltage electric swatter. You are fully prepared to declare total, uncompromising war on your own patio. That visceral reaction is completely justified. Our evolutionary programming tells us that giant, erratic, flying insects are a direct physical threat to our survival. We are hardwired to protect ourselves from things that buzz in the dark. But before you press down on that aerosol nozzle, I need you to freeze. If you unleash that chemical weapon right now, you are making a catastrophic tactical mistake. You are about to blindly execute the very biological messengers that were sent to save your summer comfort. Killing these giant, clumsy flyers will actually guarantee that your yard becomes an uninhabitable, painful nightmare in exactly 14 days. You are aiming your weapons at the wrong army. In fact, I guarantee that almost every single homeowner has made this exact tactical error at least once. They panic, they spray the giant bugs, they sweep up the bodies, and a week later they are covered in itchy, painful welts from the invisible enemies they ignored. Tell me right now in the comments, have you ever sprayed a massive swarm of these giant mosquitoes just because their sheer, intimidating size terrified you into action? We have all been deeply conditioned to fear the wrong things in nature. Today, we are talking about one of the most dramatically misunderstood creatures on the entire planet, the crane fly. You probably know them as giant mosquitoes, mosquito hawks, or maybe just flying nightmares. When hundreds of them suddenly explode out of the grass and hijack your porch light, it truly feels like a hostile invasion. The sheer, terrifying scale of their bodies makes the common, biting mosquito look like a harmless, invisible speck of dust. Let us systematically address the most terrifying assumption first. You look at those sprawling, articulated legs and that massive, hovering body, and you automatically assume the bite is going to be absolutely agonizing. You imagine a biological needle the size of a wooden toothpick sinking deep into your skin, injecting toxins. But here is the part nobody tells you. If you were to catch one of these chaotic flyers and examine its face under a magnifying glass, the entire horror story instantly falls apart into dust. The adult crane fly has no stinger, it has no defensive venom, and most shockingly, the adult crane fly does not even possess the basic anatomical equipment required to bite you. It entirely lacks the sharp, piercing mouthparts necessary to puncture human skin and draw blood. In many specific species, these giant adults do not even have functioning mouths to consume solid food or liquids at all. They are physically, biologically incapable of harming a human being. They do not want your blood. They do not want your food. They do not want to attack you. They hit the brick walls. They hit the glass lamps. They hit your forehead. They bounce around the porch like a broken, malfunctioning mechanical toy. This is not calculated aggression. This is pure, blinding desperation.
Millions of years of relentless evolution have turned the adult cranefly into a beautiful biological tragedy.
By the time they finally emerge from the damp ground with fully formed wings, their internal digestive systems are completely shut down. They are nothing more than flying emergency batteries. They are running entirely on the highly limited reserves of energy they managed to store up during their long youth underground. The exact moment their delicate wings dry in the summer air, a brutal, unforgiving countdown clock starts ticking inside their tiny heads. They have maybe 3 to 7 days to live before their internal battery simply runs out of power and they drop out of the sky. Every single chaotic, terrifying movement you see is driven by a frantic, blinding urge to find a mate before their short timer hits 0. They are terrible, clumsy pilots because they literally do not have the spare energy or the evolutionary time to fly with precision. They are not vicious monsters hunting for your veins in the dark. They are exhausted, mouthless romantics running on absolute fumes, crashing blindly into the brightest, warmest thing they can find on your property.
If this tragic biological fact just changed the way you see these giant, clumsy flyers, subscribe to the channel right now, because nature is hiding even more incredible, mind-blowing secrets right in your own backyard, and we are just getting started on this journey. Now, some of you might be cautiously putting down the can of bug spray, but you are doing it for the completely wrong reason. You might be remembering an old, comforting story your grandfather told you on a summer night. The legendary myth of the mosquito hawk. This old folklore claims that you should never, ever kill a giant cranefly because they are fierce apex predators that actively hunt down and devour thousands of actual, blood-sucking mosquitoes. It sounds like a perfect biological alliance, does it not? Nature solving nature. An elite aerial assassin assigned to protect your patio from the real biting threats. But even that is not the strangest part of the story. That comforting legend is a complete biological fabrication. It is entirely false. Remember the missing, non-functional mouthparts we just talked about?
A massive, clumsy insect that cannot even chew solid food is definitely not chasing down agile, highly evolved, evasive mosquitoes in midair. Craneflies are definitely not the apex wolves of the insect world. They are the defenseless sheep. They are the slow, bumbling, floating snacks of the summer sky. Their true, brutal ecological purpose is to serve as a massive, vital calorie source for the agile creatures that actually do protect your home. Local spiders, swooping bats, tree frogs, and hungry songbirds rely heavily on these massive, predictable bursts of craneflies to survive the busy breeding season. When you panic and cover your entire porch in a thick cloud of toxic insect spray, you are not just killing a few harmless bugs, you are actively poisoning the delicate, invisible food web surrounding your house. You are literally starving the local bat population that actually consumes thousands of real, disease-carrying mosquitoes every single night. You are recklessly breaking a biological chain that keeps the real agricultural and domestic pests in check. But incredibly, that is still not the most important reason you must pay close attention to them.
If the giant cranefly cannot bite you, and it cannot hunt for you, why should you care about a massive, annoying swarm of them hitting your windows? What does it actually mean when they suddenly appear in overwhelming, terrifying numbers? This is where our story shifts from biology to home defense. Because the giant mosquito is not the threat you need to worry about. The giant mosquito is the flashing red warning siren. To understand the critical message they are bringing to your doorstep, we have to look away from the glowing porch light and look down at the dark, forgotten corners of your property. Long before they become clumsy, flying adults, craneflies spend many months living as tough, leathery larvae hidden deep down in the soil. And those underground larvae have one absolute, non-negotiable biological requirement to survive and grow: extreme, constant moisture. Cranefly grubs absolutely cannot survive in dry, well-drained, healthy lawns.
They require chronically wet, saturated, deeply muddy conditions to thrive. They multiply rapidly in thick piles of decaying, soggy autumn leaves. They breed in overflowing, heavily clogged rain gutters.
They absolutely love that low, sunken spot in your backyard where the automatic sprinkler system pools up and never quite drains away into the earth. When you step outside and see dozens or hundreds of adult crane flies suddenly emerge from the darkness and swarm your porch light, they are broadcasting a critical vulnerability in your home perimeter defenses. They are telling you, with absolute biological certainty, that you have a severe, unchecked drainage problem nearby. They are pointing a giant, glowing, undeniable arrow at a hidden micro-swamp somewhere on your property. And that changes everything about how you should react. Because do you know what else requires stagnant, still, hidden pools of warm water to multiply? The real enemy. The actual, disease-carrying, sleep-destroying, blood-sucking mosquito. The true, dangerous threat that will ruin your summer barbecues, drive your family indoors, and potentially transmit severe illnesses. Real, dangerous mosquitoes do not clumsily crash into your face to loudly announce their presence. They do not bounce off the glass like fools. They are highly evolved, incredibly stealthy biological syringes.
They breed quietly and invisibly in the exact same stagnant, muddy water that the harmless crane flies just emerged from. They wait patiently in the dark shadows. They hunt with sophisticated thermal tracking and advanced carbon dioxide sensors. The giant crane flies are merely the loud, highly visible, clumsy first wave. They burst out of the saturated ground, hit your porch light, annoy you for a few hours, and then die a few days later, leaving you frustrated. But they are leaving you a crucial, rapidly closing window of opportunity, because the real, dangerous mosquitoes are currently incubating in that exact same puddle of water, preparing to launch their silent, painful, and relentless invasion of your yard. If you spray the crane flies with neurotoxins, you treat the harmless symptom and completely ignore the fatal disease. You execute the loyal messenger. The loud alarm bell stops ringing, but the hidden fire is still burning out of control. Instead of declaring total war on the innocent bugs hitting your screen door, you need to intelligently read the environmental data they are actively providing to you. You need to follow the biological clues.
Tomorrow morning, the exact moment the sun comes up, you need to walk the perimeter of your property like a detective. Look closely at your roof rain gutters. Are they heavily packed with decaying, wet, rotting sludge from last autumn? Clean them out immediately. Look closely at your green lawn. Is there a sunken depression near the concrete foundation holding a puddle of dark water? Fill it with dry dirt and gravel. Check the forgotten, rusty wheelbarrow behind the storage shed, the old rubber tires, and the decorative concrete bird bath. You must eliminate the standing water. Fix the dripping, leaking outdoor faucet that keeps the soil muddy. Rake up the thick, suffocating layers of wet, rotting leaves trapped underneath the heavy garden bushes. By simply drying out these hidden micro-swamps, you are permanently neutralizing the breeding grounds. You are executing a brilliant, strategic, preemptive strike against the real, blood-sucking enemy before they even get a chance to deploy their stealthy troops into the air. As for the exhausted, mouthless romantics currently bouncing loudly off your patio furniture and driving you crazy, leave the toxic bug spray hidden in the cabinet. Do not roll up the magazine. There is a beautifully simple, highly effective, non-toxic solution to clear them out of your space immediately. Crane flies are blindly, hopelessly, chemically addicted to artificial light sources. Simply turn off your main porch light. Walk away and turn on a different, brighter exterior light 20 or 30 feet away, perhaps near the detached garage or the far edge of the grassy yard.
Within 60 seconds, the entire frantic, chaotic swarm will automatically relocate themselves to the new glowing target. No harsh chemicals deployed. No frantic, exhausting swatting required. No biological war crimes committed on your own patio. You simply redirect the organic air traffic using their own biology against them. Think about the massive shift in perspective we just went through together. Just 10 minutes ago, that massive, sprawling, long-legged insect crashing heavily into your window was a terrifying, aggressive monster. It was a giant, bloodthirsty vampire actively threatening your family. It was a disgusting, invading pest that deserved to be completely obliterated by a thick cloud of expensive aerosol neurotoxins.
Now you know the profound, undeniable truth. It is a completely harmless, desperately tired creature operating on a rapidly dying internal battery. It cannot bite you. It cannot eat your food. It is an essential, flying calorie source for the beautiful songbirds that sing in your tall trees. And most importantly, it is a highly accurate, living environmental sensor, actively warning you about hidden, breeding dangers lurking in the dark, wet corners of your own yard. Nature does not operate with random malice. It operates with cold, calculating, mechanical purpose. Every bizarre, alien shape, every erratic, clumsy flight pattern, and every sudden, overwhelming swarm is a tiny part of a massive, perfectly balanced ecological watch. When we panic blindly and destroy the biological gears we do not immediately understand, we end up breaking the entire protective machine. The very next time the warm summer air gets heavy and you flip that outdoor switch to enjoy the evening, do not cringe when the long shadows start dancing frantically across the wooden deck. When the giant mosquito clumsily hits the glass and falls to the floor, do not aggressively reach for the heavy shoe.
Read the signs they are giving you, fix the standing water, protect the fragile ecosystem, and let the biological special forces do their job in total peace.